Howdy folks, Jason here with Kirk, Giordano Plastering, and today I'm coming at you with a little bit of a different perspective. Just me and Lou here today, so I got nobody to hold the camera for me. Lou's real great at mixing, but I can't have him holding these nice electronic things. Anyway, what I'm going to show you today is how we fix this. It's a exterior soffit ceiling. It has an attic crawl space above it, and what happened is 4 years ago or so, the homeowner was up there and he dropped a hammer or a tool or something onto the wood lath. Now the way this works inside is it's stucco, wood lath, then the insulation and rafters, but there's no floor. There's nothing for him to walk on. So he's stepping on the rafters, he drops a hammer, created a little hole, and over the last few years that kept vibrating and loosening, and more came off. You can see what we got up there. So what I'm going to do today is we've got to tear off all the loose stuff. Then we have to clean the keys out. We need to apply a bonding agent over the wood lath in order to eliminate the dust. And then we put new stucco over it. 2 coats and then a light dash, because this was a heavy dash, but it's a 90-year-old home. It's been painted 20 or 30 times. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to show you what we're doing. One of the big things when you are doing a soffit like this is where do you start and where do you stop? If I were to just take my hammer and start bashing this stuff off, then who knows? I could end up taking the whole ceiling off. We don't want to do that. So an important thing to do when you're doing this kind of work is figure out where you're going and where you're stopping. I don't want to go all the way to the end of this ceiling. Let's see, it's kind of hard to aim this thing and show you the work. So we've got this here. It's real loose. But over here is solid. Loose, solid. I don't know if the camera or if my microphone can pick that up. So we've got to score this so that while we're pulling these pieces off, it doesn't go all the way to the end here. Let me turn my screen a little bit. There we go. Now, you might say that a razor blade through cement is not a great idea. The truth is, it isn't. It's not going to work real well. But, here we go. Let me turn this so I can see what I'm showing you. I think I'm going to end up anywhere around here. So you take your brazier, and we're just scoring this. I'm going to do this 5, 6, 10, 20 times in order to make a nice line here so that when I take my hammer, I'm not going to take the whole ceiling off. So I've got to do that. I got to do that here. I've got to do that on this corner because I don't want to come into this stuff. I just want to take it off right to the corner. I've got to do the same thing over here. Hopefully I can salvage this light. I don't want to go past it if I don't have to, but you know, we're gonna have to wait to see on that. Anyway, it's hard to do this work and hold the camera. Maybe I'll set this up on a tripod so it can show what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but you see where I'm going, and I'll show you the next step as I get there. Alright guys, I got that set up. Now I get the fun stuff. I get to sit here for a while trying to cut stucco with a razor blade, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but it will work if you just keep going over it and over it. And, you know, a lot of people will skip this step or don't know about this step, but you end up having to do a lot more work afterwards if you skip this step. We don't want to come into this, and I don't want to tear off more than I have to. I don't want to tear off anything that doesn't need to come off. It saves me time, and it saves the homeowner money. A lot of people think, oh, you got to tear this whole ceiling off because this one little area is bad, and that's just not accurate. Another thing the homeowner asked, and I know that a lot of people wonder, is do you need to put metal lath, the 3.4 mesh, over this redwood lath, or I don't know if it's redwood, whatever wood lath this is? No. This lath is in good condition. The wood is fine. You could put metal over it, of course, but it's unnecessary. It takes extra time, costs extra money, and why? All you have to do is make sure that these keys are cleaned out. You can't have stucco in between them. Otherwise, our new stucco won't mushroom up in behind it. Okay, so I've done this whole perimeter. I haven't done this side yet. I'm going to try to take care of this stuff first and see where it takes me. Get myself a couple buckets. I could just throw it on the tarp, but why? If I'm going to have to pick it up eventually anyway, might as well try to be clean with it. So here we go. You just put that claw in, watch it explode into a million pieces. Hopefully you're wearing a mask, you're wearing a hat, you've got glasses on. I don't know what's in this stuff, and I don't want it in my eyeballs or my lungs. Alright, so now I'm coming up to my score line. And if I hadn't done that, when I break this, it could go all the way down and I could take a big chunk out of this existing piece, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, you guys see where I'm going with this. Not terribly exciting. I bet it's a little more exciting than watching paint dry though, but just barely. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to knock this whole thing off, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright folks, we did all that nasty breakout. Now, how do you know where to start and stop? Now, you saw me taking my razor and cutting into these corners thinking that this was all going to come off. The way to tell, the way to know when to start and stop is if you look at this, it's tight. Let me flip the camera around and I can be a little more obvious here. See, this stuff, it's tight. It's in there. It's not loose. That sound is solid. I could, of course, keep breaking this stuff off, but why? Why take off something that is good and doesn't need it? Now, you never really know until you start doing it, because when I came and I knocked, I knock on the thing, I thought a lot more was going to come off. But, best case scenario is it doesn't. So why keep tearing off when you don't need to? We did end up tearing a good amount of this off, but more than I expected is solid. So we left it. Now that all that's cleaned off and I cleaned out my keys, these guys here are your keys. Your stucco wants to go in that and mushroom in. So the next step is to apply our bonding agent. And I have a bucket here with our bonding agent. It's a little purple, but it'll work just fine. So get it on my roller. And then what I'm doing now is just rolling it out. Not the easiest thing in the world to show on this. I'm going to put the camera back on the tripod and you'll see me doing this. Alright, now that I set that down, I can actually get to work. I've got my weldcrete in this bucket, and all I'm doing is making sure I coat everything, because stucco will not adhere to dust. So I don't want this to be dusty or dirty. Got to get all the spider webs off and all that stuff. I can go over this edge a little bit. I heard the camera shut off on me for some reason, so I went and turned it back on. Not that this is the most exciting part of the job, but the prep work is probably more important than the actual work. If I were to just put cement on here, yeah, it would stay up for a while, but within 6-7 months, they'd have the same problem. It would start falling little bits at a time because it never got a good bond. Well, you see what I'm doing here. Got to coat everything. I'm going to shut this off again. And, oh, look at that big old spider. Hey, buddy. I'm going to shut this off again, and I'll show you guys when I'm putting the first coat. Alright guys, now we get to do the fun stuff, the spreading. So, I got my mud, and I had Lou mix this a little bit richer, a little bit extra powder compared to the sand, because I want it real sticky. And you're going to watch me drop a bunch of it, because I'm not nearly as good at these as my dad is. But so what you want to do is start with your edges. And notice I'm pushing it into the existing. I want it to key really well into that existing stuff. And I'm pushing it hard so it will go into the lath and mushroom up into that and hold itself on. So we just work our way all the way around the edge. Just like that. And I'm going to keep going all the way around. When you're doing soffits, you want to keep your hawk under what you're doing because you're inevitably going to drop some. Okay, my battery died. Not sure exactly where, so I'll probably just repeat myself. Big thing when you're doing soffits, you want to go with your edges first. Once you get those done, you go to the middle. And I'm sure it missed some of it, but don't do this stuff unless you want to get dirty. I get a little dirtier than, say, my dad or some other plasterers because this stuff is hard. I drop a lot while I'm doing this. Tricks. You got to keep your hawk, I'll turn this way so you can see. You want to keep your hawk under what you're doing. I don't care how good you are, you're going to drop some. Some people probably drop a lot less than I do, but that's okay. I get the job done also. You want your mud rich, but a little loose so that it can really get in there and mushroom. Put a few hawk trowelfuls on, come over, clean it up. This is just the first coat. I don't want to go too heavy, otherwise the weight will pull it all off the wall. Hopefully you can understand me. Yeah, I could take this mask off, but I don't know what's in this ceiling and little bits are still falling. A little bit at a time. We go over, clean that up. Little bits at a time. And get the fun stuff around this light fixture. Oh, there we go, dropping on my head. That's why I'm wearing a hat. I can't really reach over this section very well. I'm going to have to move this board. And I am pushing pretty hard on this, even when I'm smoothing it out. I really need it to mushroom in there. Otherwise I'll be here all day fixing dropouts, and I don't want to do that. Alright, I let this set like 5 minutes. That's all it needed with this rapid set material. I scratched it fairly heavy, but I didn't want to go all the way, of course. It would have been too heavy and it could have caused more dropouts than I'm already getting. So now, all I'm going to do is make it true and plumb with this second coat. This mud is a little looser, but still very rich. I want it sticky. And we're probably still going to get a bunch of stuff falling all over me, like I said before. But man, this one, putting it on once it's already on there, that's a lot easier than what I just did. So in that 5 minutes while I was resting my arm, letting this set, I was on the internet. Turns out Prince died this morning. Prince is dead. Yeah, he died this morning or so. So the internet's reporting. We'll see. I think the internet, different websites love to report that people are dead when maybe they are or aren't. It causes traffic, gets them views. But I know that one will be pretty big if it's true. Alright, so again, all I'm doing is bringing this all out plumb. And if I go a little too fat here, that actually helps me because I have to float this. And I have to float this real heavy. And then I'm still probably going to need to dash it. But if I'm a little too fat and I float it just right, I might be able to match this without dashing it. And that'll save me a lot of time and a lot of mess. I'm prepared to do it if I need to, but it's always nice if you can take little shortcuts. Alright, that second coat's been on about 5 minutes. It's setting up quick. Now I get to float it. Now just like when we started that first coat, I'm going to float starting with the edges, and I'm floating into the existing work. I don't want to pull away from the edge and pull it all out. I keyed it in there. I pushed hard so it would be keyed in there. And I'm still a little fat on here, and that's okay. We're just going to float it into the existing. And this sand is a real heavy sand from a different material yard than we usually use. While that's great for the texture, man, it sure beat me up. It was pretty heavy. Did not want to stick very well. And I still have a little hole there, a couple spots I can fill out. But since it's so heavy, I may not have to dash this. That sand is going to be floated out real nice, and it might match right on the money. So I'm just floating along my edges. I know the camera's a little bit far away from me right now, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. In a minute, I'm going to grab it, and hopefully I can show you guys a little closer. Okay, I got the camera now, so bear with me for a second while I turn everything around, and hopefully I can give you guys a real up-close view of what I mean by floating. So we got our water bucket, we got our float, we knock out a bunch of that water. I don't want too much. And then we go up. So here I've already done. Now over here, you can see where my brown coat is a little bit over everything. That's okay. When I float it, it's all going to blend in. It's called feathering in or blending in. And now, boom. Of course I have to do the rest of it, but that, when that is painted, man, that's going to match just beautifully. Back in for water. When your float starts to drag, you know you need more water. So now I'm going to do around this light. And we want to go every which way. I don't want to leave any float lines going just one direction. Now I'm starting to drag back into the water. Back up. Oh man, this is even harder than what I was doing before. Okay. I'm going to put that back. It's real hard to hold this and float, but I'll set it over on the tripod and you can keep watching. Well, that was a fun little bit, right? Hopefully that wasn't too vertigo-inducing. It was fun to try. I see a bunch of videos of people holding the camera, pointing it at themselves, and thought I would give it a shot. It is definitely a little more challenging, but hopefully it was kind of cool and you liked it. Anyway, I'm going to keep working my way around this side. Around the edge, around the edge. If I'm too fat, I'll rub the float back and forth. Get rid of that hump. Now I'm dragging back into the water. Back around my edge. Hit this corner. Got the corner of the float in there. More water. Again, going every which way around this light. Okay, well, you guys see where I'm going. I've got another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to pretty everything up, and when I'm done, I'll show you the final product. All right, and there you have it, guys. We're done. Fun day. Let me switch this around so I can show you guys. That's what it looks like. And those lines, I went a little gung-ho when I cut those scores in it originally. I didn't need to break out as much as I thought I would need to. And hey, that's actually pretty awesome. I'm happy with that. But that's how you fix this exterior soffit. You don't need metal lath. You don't need to take the whole roof off. All you got to do is take off whatever's loose and then put new stucco over it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I did want to tell you about those of you who've been with us since the start. You probably remember this other channel we started. That was going to be my channel. I never used it for much 3 years ago. Now I'm going to start using it again, but I'm not going to do stucco videos now. I'm going to do bike videos and other hobbies and things. It's going to be a blog. It won't be how-to instructional stuff because I don't know enough about other stuff to teach people, but it's going to be fun and it's going to be interesting, I hope. Anyway, if you want to watch that, there'll be a link right here for you to check out. Thanks for watching this, and we hope to see you guys on the next one.
Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below, and also if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.